You've been told your dog is broken. Maybe a trainer looked at your dog, shook their head, and said some version of, "This one's a tough case." Maybe you've tried everything, spent money you didn't really have, or watched YouTube videos at midnight hoping something would click, and nothing worked. So now you're sitting there wondering whether the dog you love is just beyond fixing. I want you to stay with me for the next few minutes because what I'm about to share might completely change how you see your dog's situation. And I'm not saying that to get your hopes up for no reason. I'm saying it because the science, the real behavioral science, tells a story that most people never hear. Welcome to Dog Channel Z. We're here to help you better understand, train, and care for your dog while discovering some amazing breeds along the way. Let's start with something that might surprise you. The label problem dog is one of the most misleading phrases in the world of pet ownership. When we call a dog a problem, we're putting all the blame on the animal. We're saying the dog is defective, that something inside them is fundamentally wrong. But here's what professional behaviorists and veterinary researchers consistently find when they actually dig into these cases. The behavior is almost never the real problem. The behavior is a symptom. Think about that for a second. If a person keeps having headaches every day, we don't say that person is broken. We ask what's causing the headaches. Is it stress, poor sleep, something neurological? We look for the root cause. Dogs deserve exactly the same investigative approach, and when people actually take that approach, the results are often remarkable. So what are the actual root causes hiding behind so-called problem behavior? There are several major categories that come up again and again. First, there's pain and physical health. This one gets overlooked constantly. A dog who snaps when touched might not be aggressive. That dog might be in pain every time someone reaches for them. Arthritis, ear infections, dental disease, injuries that weren't obvious from the outside. Research in veterinary behavioral medicine has shown that undiagnosed pain is one of the most underestimated contributors to aggressive and reactive behavior in dogs. The fix isn't more training, it's a vet visit and proper pain management. Second, there's fear. And I don't mean a dog who cowers a little during thunderstorms. I'm talking about chronic, deeply wired fear responses that develop because of genetics, early life experiences, or trauma. Fear-based behavior looks aggressive from the outside. The dog barks, lunges, growls, maybe bites. But the internal experience of that dog is terror, not hostility. These dogs aren't trying to dominate anything. They're trying to survive a world that feels overwhelmingly dangerous to them. Understanding that completely changes how you approach helping them. Third, there's the environment. Dogs are not built to live in every environment humans create for them. A high-energy working breed living in a small apartment with no mental stimulation and minimal exercise is going to find outlets for that energy. Sometimes those outlets look like destruction, compulsive behavior, or aggression. Change the environment, meet the dog's actual needs, and you often see dramatic improvement without any formal training at all. Now here's where the hope gets really grounded in something real. Canine behavioral science has advanced enormously over the past 2 decades. We understand the dog brain in ways we simply didn't before. We know that dogs are capable of what's called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections and pathways based on new experiences. This is the biological foundation of learning and behavior change, and it doesn't shut off when a dog has a bad history. What this means practically is that a dog who has spent years reacting with fear or aggression can, under the right conditions, truly learn different responses. The old emotional patterns don't disappear entirely, but new ones can be built alongside them and can become the dominant response over time. This isn't wishful thinking. This is how systematic desensitization and counterconditioning work. and these methods have decades of documented success behind them. Let me give you a concrete picture of what this looks like. Say you have a dog who reacts explosively to other dogs on leash. Classic reactive behavior. Every walk is a nightmare. You feel embarrassed, exhausted, and hopeless. What a skilled behaviorist will do is not try to force the dog to just tolerate other dogs. They'll work below the threshold of reaction. They'll find the distance at which the dog notices another dog but hasn't lost the ability to think. And at that distance, repeatedly, consistently, they'll pair the sight of that other dog with something the dog loves. Over time, the dog's brain starts making a real association. Other dog equals good thing, not threat. The reaction softens. The threshold expands. The dog starts to have a different emotional response before anyone's told it to behave differently. This process takes time. There's no getting around that. Anyone promising you a quick fix for deep behavioral issues is either uninformed or trying to sell you something. But slow progress is still progress, and the direction of that progress matters enormously. Now I want to address something that comes up a lot, and it's genuinely painful to talk about. Sometimes people ask whether some dogs are truly hopeless cases, whether there are animals where no amount of work will make a meaningful difference in their quality of life or their safety around others. And the honest answer is that yes, in a small number of cases, the challenges are severe enough that behavioral modification has clear limits. Dogs with certain neurological conditions, dogs who have experienced extreme developmental deprivation during critical early periods, dogs with specific combinations of genetic predisposition and trauma history that create bite risks too significant to manage safely. These situations exist, and pretending they don't would be doing you a disservice. But here's the crucial thing. Most dogs who get labeled as hopeless never actually get a proper evaluation by someone qualified to make that assessment. Most of them get written off by frustrated owners, overwhelmed shelters, or trainers who don't have the background to recognize what's really going on. Before you accept that label for your dog, you need to see a board-certified veterinary behaviorist or a certified applied animal behaviorist. Not just any trainer, someone with the credentials and the clinical experience to actually assess what's happening and what the realistic options are. Because what you'll often find is that the picture is not nearly as grim as it seemed. There's a root cause that was missed. There's a medication that can take the edge off anxiety enough for training to finally gain traction. There's a management strategy that dramatically reduces the risk while you work on the underlying behavior. There are options that nobody ever laid out clearly for you. Let's also talk about what your role is in this, because it matters more than you might realize. Dogs are always reading the emotional state of the people around them. If you go into every training session anxious, bracing for failure, your dog is picking up on that. It doesn't mean you caused the problem. It doesn't mean your anxiety makes you a bad owner. It means that your own state of mind is part of the environment your dog lives in. Working on your own stress response, your own consistency, your own ability to stay calm during difficult moments, that's not a small thing. That's often a significant piece of the puzzle. Consistency is the other massive factor. Behavior modification doesn't work if it only happens twice a week during formal sessions. It works when the principles are applied every day in every relevant situation. That's hard. Life is busy and unpredictable. But the dogs who make the most progress almost always have owners who figured out how to build that consistency into real life, not just training time. And patience. Real patience, not the kind that secretly has a deadline attached to it. Behavioral change is not linear. There will be setbacks. There will be days where it seems like all the progress evaporated overnight. This is normal. The brain is doing complex work. 2 steps forward and 1 step back is still net forward progress. And recognizing that keeps you in the game long enough to see real results. So is there hope for problem dogs? Yes. Genuine, evidence-based, scientifically grounded hope. Not the naive kind that ignores real challenges. Not the desperate kind that grasps at any promise. But the kind that comes from understanding what's actually happening inside these animals and what we as humans are truly capable of doing to help them. Your dog didn't choose to be afraid, didn't choose to be in pain, didn't choose whatever experience shaped the behaviors that are making your life hard right now. They're doing the best they can with the brain and the history they have. The question is never really whether the dog can change. The question is whether you have access to the right knowledge, the right support, and the right level of commitment to make that change possible. For most dogs, with the right help, the answer is absolutely yes. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us here at Dog Channel Z. Subscribe for more helpful dog content, and we'll see you and your four-legged friend next time.